Welcome, this is part 2 of how we built a kid's electric helicopter. Once the helicopter shell was completed, I started to cut the front wheels off the donor car to allow them to turn inside of the shell. The wheels are plastic and made in two halves, so I unscrewed them and placed the spacers on the front axle to take up the space of the missing wheel half. I then wired up the tail motor using an extension cord and cut the ends off to use as a wire loom to the motor and speed controller. This worked out well and meant I could remove the tail for storage as the extension cord had excess slack. Liam loves the Westpac rescue helicopter that we have here in New Zealand, so I wanted this helicopter to have a rescue winch on it. I used some spare wood that I had lying around and cut a radius on the end of the wood. I also had a leftover ride-on car motor that would be used for the winch to motorise it. Using some 90-degree brackets, I fastened it to the helicopter shell. It was then time to start painting the helicopter, so we took a trip to Bunnings to get some spray paint. I started spray painting the helicopter using a grey primer and then planned on spray painting the top coats as well. However, this didn't work out as well as I thought and ended up brush painting it as the wood soaked up the spray paint and it didn't give a good finish compared to the brush where I could put a decent few coats of paint on top of the wood. Once the shell was painted, I worked on the skids using some PVC plumbing pipe. I glued in some stubs into the shell where I could attach the skids to and then remove for storage. Copying other helicopter designs, I started to measure and cut the PVC to get the look I wanted for the skids. The PVC pipe pushed together pretty tight, so I didn't need to glue the pieces together. To attach the shell to the donor car, I used some galvanised 90-degree brackets and screwed them into the car and into the plywood. Once everything was painted, we then did a test fit to see how all the parts fitted together. I used one of the spare hubs I had from a broken ride-on car for the winch spool and some rope. I used a screw-in hook to work as a pulley. The Westpac logo I printed out of paper and stuck it on the side and front of the helicopter with some craft glue. The speed controller I mounted in an ice cream container and screwed it on the back of the donor car. I then wired up the winch using a double throw, double pole rocker switch, extension cord and a jiffy box to house the switch in. I spliced the power for the speed controller into the ride-on car's SLA battery and drilled a hole through the ice cream container to join it all together. The three motors for the main rotor, tail rotor and winch are joined together and connected to the speed controller output. The speed controller will allow us to control the speed of the rotors and winch so that it isn't too dangerous for Liam. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how the helicopter turned out. The motors really make it a novelty for Liam and he loves driving it around. Thank you for watching and make sure to check out some of our other videos like the one here of Liam on his rescue mission. Also, don't forget to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more awesome videos. Cheers.